Oh, good. Remember to do that there. All right, the meeting is being recorded. I got to click continue here.
Yeah,
All right. Okay, this virtual meeting of the City of Kingston Zoning Board of Appeals will now come to order. It is 6:02 PM. My name is Tony Arkelevich, and I'll be chairing this proceeding. I will take a moment to explain how the Zoning Board of Appeals functions. The board is comprised of 5 members and 2 alternates. We have been appointed to serve the citizens of the City of Kingston. We perform this service to the best of our abilities on a voluntary unpaid basis. The other board members are Joe Fitzgerald, absent. Brian Cafferty, Brian here?
No, he said he was gonna be here.
All right, well, I'll mark him when he comes. Donna Martin is here. Mary Newbauer is here. We have alternates Ari Goldstein and Anthony Tampone. So that's me and 4 others. With 5, we've got a full board. If Brian shows up, then I'll make a decision on the alternate. But Anthony, you were here for the first meeting with these parties, right?
Yep.
Ari wasn't, okay.
Correct.
All right, so we're all set at this point. I don't know if there'll be a period for public comment this evening after the appeal is heard. We'll wait and see if there is anybody who wants to speak. If we do have people who want to speak, they make statement of opinion, not to engage in debate. Each speaker must state their name and address for the record. Speakers must be brief and to the point to allow everyone a chance to speak. Speakers must address the board as a whole, not individual members, and not other speakers or audience members. Professional demeanor is expected. First order of business is to approve the minutes for 9/22/2021 meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
Take the
The
second.
minutes.
Who seconded?
I'll second.
Mary?
Yep.
Seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 5-0. Okay. Eric, just remind me to adjourn the meeting. We sometimes forget to do that. And if we do have public comment, remind me of that also. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, this evening, we have old business. The only item on the agenda, applicant David Gordon Esquire on behalf of Michael and Gail Flynn. The applicant is seeking an appeal of ZEO determination pursuant to 405-54 parentheses F parentheses 2 of the City of Kingston zoning code dated June 18, 2021 regarding Bluestone Commons. At this point, I want to enter into the record 2 letters from neighbors of the Bluestone Commons. One letter is from John and Carol Dowley, Dowley, 262 Lucas Avenue, Kingston. And the other letter from Sandra Perna. And not sure if she has her address here. I live at 258 Lucas Avenue, Kingston. So I want to enter those 2 letters into the record. We also have a bit of an unusual situation. We have a letter from Mr. Kitchen to enter into the record to Mr. Gordon and Mr. Capello, the attorneys for the 2 parties, appellant and the applicant. And I'll read it, it's short. Since our last meeting, I received a letter from John Dowley pointing out an error in my calculation of the total open space proposed at Bluestone Commons. I have since recalculated the total open space, including sidewalks that do not cross the parking lot as per relevant definitions. According to my new calculations, the project as it is proposed includes approximately 20,544 square feet of open space, which exceeds the requirements of the code by approximately 2,144 square feet. The requirement is 18,400 square feet. As such, it is my continued position that the project meets requirements. So you also have attached to Eric's letter a drawing of the area of the Bluestone Commons, and it's shaded in green and blue and orange, depicting various items on the plot, including Lucas Avenue sidewalk, the front sidewalk sitting area, perimeter loop, and lawn area. Everyone's on the board should have received that letter from Mr. Kitchen, addressed to Mr. Gordon and Mr. Capello. And just, I want to reiterate, Eric, this does not change it changes the number by maybe 1,000, your original number, but it does not change your position on the project meeting the requirements. You have a total of 20,544 square feet. Requirement is 400 square feet per unit of 46 units for a total of 18,400.
That's
So
correct.
as a result of the recalculation due to a neighbor's letter, I applaud you for going back to the drawing board and not just ignoring it and recalculating. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So at that point, we've entered Eric's letter in. We also, into the record, we also want to add to the record two supplemental letters, one from Mr. Gordon dated 10/1/2021, and a supplemental letter from Mr. Capello dated October 4th, 2021. So we have letters from both attorneys reiterating their positions. So as I said, the applicant is seeking an appeal of the ZEO determination pursuant to 405-54F2 of the City of Kingston zoning code dated June 18, 2021 regarding Bluestone Commons. Okay, Eric, do we have anyone from the public currently on board here that wants to speak very briefly?
All right, so I have to go, this is a process I have to go through. You gotta be patient with me because there are people here by phone. There's no way to communicate with them unless I unmute them and ask them individually, do they want to speak?
Just briefly want to speak.
Yeah.
Okay,
And they can hear what you're saying. So, yeah, just hold on 1 second here. Mr. Daly, do you want to speak?
no, I want the public, not the attorneys. The attorneys,
Mr. Daly's a neighbor, Tony.
oh, the neighbor. Okay, I'm sorry.
Mr. John Daly, do you have anything to say? Would you like to speak?
Yes, I would just like to, again, my name is John Dowley. I live at 262 Lucas Avenue. And I'm adjacent to the development of Bluestone Commons. In light of the change of the open space calculation, I'd like to see or ask for a readout of how those calculations were made.
No, we're not doing that, sir.
Okay.
Speak
I
to
would
the
just
issue.
ask
The
that-
board has your letter and we appreciate your letter. As a result of the letter, Mr. Kitchen recalculated and we taking his recalculation. We're not going to,
With all
we're
due
not going to do
respect,
that.
I would just like to add that the new calculation also includes areas that are duplicated.
Okay.
No,
Well,
those were taken
We're
out.
not, we're not going to get into a debate. Mr. Kitchen has recalculated. We're accepting his numbers and the matter is closed in terms of any more debate. Anybody else wants to speak, Eric?
Hold on.
Well, we're not finished with that.
Well, I'm sorry, you're done because you were starting to debate the issue again. So
I'm
we're
not
not-
debating it. I'm-
Okay, I really don't want to have to mute you, Mr. Dowling. I appreciate your letter. Mr. Kitchen acted upon it, the board reviewed it, and we're proceeding, please, or else I'll have to mute you. Go ahead, Eric. Anyone else?
Yeah, let's see here. We have 339 4512. Do you want to speak?
Okay, no.
No, okay. Let's see here. Nope.
Okay. By the way, while you're doing that, Eric, the drawing that accompanied your letter is actually from Mr. Interante, who's the architect of Bluestone Commons. That's his diagram, correct?
Correct. He's with us tonight if you need him to give you a brief
Oh,
explanation.
I don't. I just want to state that for
There
the
you
fact.
are. Yeah.
Okay, we're ready.
Mrs. Dally, do you have something to say?
Yes, I do, and I'm here with Sandra Perna. We're sharing a Zoom call. And Sandra or Sandy would like to speak.
Okay, briefly, please.
Hello,
Hello.
hi, I'm one of the other people that wrote a letter that
Yep.
you spoke about. So in looking at the new drawings, where my property is, the walkway or the walking path rather is exactly on my property line. And in conflict with that, if you look at the landscaping plans, they have proposed 6 large trees to buffer,
Okay,
which
I
would
stopped
be in the way of the walking path.
Vernon, can I just stop you there? We are dealing with an appeal on the calculations of open space for this meeting. Other matters will have to be addressed to other parties. We are just dealing with solely the calculation of the zoning enforcement officer.
I understand that, but it's in conflict. There's no way it would change again if those 6 trees were landscaped the way they're supposed to be, the buffer. There's no way that it would have to be redrawn again, that walking path, because they're both in the same space. I just want to make that point.
I appreciate that, and as I said, that's left to other parties to look.
Not really.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak, Eric? Okay, that being said, I will.
Next, everyone who wants to speak to unmute. Nobody else is unmuting.
All right, I just, I have a few words and then I'm going to open it up to the other board members. I would just want to thank Mr. Gordon and Mr. Capello, if they're listening. Thank you for your professionalism throughout this whole process and at the meetings. And especially thank you for your concise arguments and to the point. It made the meetings move a lot easier and the board to consider the arguments more easily when they're right in front of them. Okay, so Mr. Gordon, on behalf of his clients, Michael and Gail Flynn, has requested the ZBA to issue 2 determinations. Number 1, quote, areas qualifying as usable open space must measure at least 40 feet in their smaller dimension, and accordingly, the project does not meet the requirements for usable open space, end of quote. Number 2, quote, site plan approval requires a demonstration that both the interior and exterior of the building will meet accessibility requirements for people with disabilities, end quote. Those are the 2 determinations Mr. Gordon has asked the board to consider. The central issue of this matter is the calculation of usable open space to meet the lot and bulk table of 400 square feet per apartment unit of 46 units required. There is 18,400 square feet of usable open space needed for Bluestone Commons based on the lot and bulk table. Chapter 405-3 of the zoning code definitions calls for usable open space to have minimum dimension, and I quote, minimum dimension, which is 40 feet, end of quote. Mr. Kitchen interprets that to mean, quote, a minimum dimension in any direction that also complies with the other aspects of the usable open space definition, end of quote. That's in his interpretation letter. Mr. Gordon argues that Mr. Kitchen has an expansive definition of usable open space, and that usable open space must be at least 40 feet in its smaller dimension, i.e. width. I believe the 40 feet of usable open space was meant to be either width or length in the zoning code. To cite an example, most walkways are less than 40 feet in width and can be miles in linear feet of length. Certainly, walkways are to be considered active recreation. The same can be said of many other types of recreation areas in terms of their measurement. Furthermore, where there is ambiguous language in the zoning code, I have generally favored the applicant, as I do here. In regards to the second part of the appeal, handicap accessibility requirements are part of the planning board review process and the building permit issuance. Hence, I recommend denial of both issues appealed and the affirmation of the ZEO's determinations. I would request that my fellow board members share their thoughts on these two appeals, and then we will have a roll call vote of a motion. Okay, first up, I'd like to speak. Just a few words, nothing involved. Whether you agree with what I said, disagree with what I said, reason why.
I do. I agree with what you said. This is Donna. And I want to say that the map was very helpful. I came in after the fact. I wasn't here for the June meeting. So taking into consideration all the information that was received from both attorneys and looking at this, I find that it's acceptable as it is.
Thank you, Donna. Mary, do you have a few words?
I agree with you. Basically, the map again was very, very a good idea to actually see it laid out.
Right.
Mhm.
That
Okay,
was,
so I agree with you and Donna.
okay, thank you.
Hi,
Mr.
guys.
Chairman?
I'm sorry I was held up by a contractor.
Okay, now, Brian, you've had the opportunity to hear the arguments in the past, is that correct?
I did not, and I was just questioning whether or not I can really participate because I did not sit in on the last meeting. I
Okay,
was in Cape Cod, so.
that's right, I remember. Okay, so we're gonna let, if you don't mind, we're gonna let Ari and Anthony vote on this tonight as alternates.
Okay, then I'm gonna bow out. Is this the only thing on the agenda?
Yes.
No, Brian, if you could stay, that would be helpful. There are other
Okay.
issues we have to discuss after.
Okay,
Okay,
problem.
so we've got Mary, Donna. Joe is absent. Anthony, do you have some comments that you'd like to make?
I agree with Eric's determination on these issues. And for anybody that is concerned about ambiguity in our zoning code, right now the city is doing a comprehensive replan of that. So get involved in that process and submit your comments, and hopefully we can avoid questionable things in the future.
Definitely, that was why we hired that consultant, so
Mhm.
good luck with it. Ari, I think you also had minimum contact with this issue, but for purposes of voting, have you had the opportunity to look at the details of the case and hear what I read and make an opinion on that?
Well, I've heard the arguments today and I've reviewed the emails. I don't have any additional concerns.
Okay. All right, so we heard, and you heard from me. So at this point, I have a resolution that I'll need a motion to approve the following. I'll read it. On June 18th, 2021, the ZEO issued an interpretation at the request of certain neighbors of a site located at 264 Lucas Avenue, Kingston, New York, 12401, also known as Bluestone Commons. An appeal of that interpretation was filed on August 17th, 2021. This board has considered the appeal at a public hearing on September 22nd, 2021, and has reviewed written submissions from both the appellant and the property owner. For the reasons that have been discussed on the record, reasons that will be more fully outlined in a written decision to follow, the appeal is hereby denied and the interpretation of the ZEO is hereby affirmed in all respects. Do I have a motion to approve that resolution?
I move to approve.
Okay, Mary, or, yep, Mary.
I'll second.
Anthony,
Mhm.
second. All in favor? I'm going to do roll call, I'm sorry. Mary?
Aye.
Donna?
Aye.
Ari?
Aye.
Anthony?
Aye.
And I'm a yes. The motion passes 5-0. Eric, thank you for all your work and we have the decision, so. I
Thank
will-
you to the
I
board.
will get it down to you tomorrow and with my signature, it'll be just one signature on it and me. I guess we have something else Dan wants to speak to us
So
about.
this is probably, Dan,
We need to
something
adjourn.
you want to speak to the board about?
Yeah, we need, when we need,
Yeah,
to
the process going, okay,
hold
let me
on,
just,
we need to adjourn the meeting. If we're going.
no,
into
not yet,
session.
not yet. We will, okay.
Okay,
The process going forward is that a written decision will be drafted. It will be circulated to all the board members. And once that is approved by all the board members, it will be fully executed, fully explaining the rationale behind the denial. So I just want everybody to keep an eye out for that. I also just want to recognize the fact that this is Tony's last meeting, as he is stepping down from the board and also stepping down from his position as the chair. I have worked with Tony for how long now on this board?
many years.
Many years through very difficult, complex matters. A number of them have, taken us to Supreme Court, have taken us to the appellate division, have taken us to federal court. And I just wanted to recognize the years that Tony has put in and just acknowledge how much of a loss that's going to be, to the city, to the board, and to myself personally.
Thank you, Dan. It's certainly been a pleasure working with you and the board members. And through thick or thin, we always got it done one way. And my travels up to to federal court in Syracuse will always be a memory for me, sitting there in federal court. So thank you, board. Thank you.
Well, I would like to second that. It has been my great privilege, Tony, even though you and I have butted heads from time to time. It's been a privilege serving with you, and you.
Thank you, Brian.
The city owes you a debt of gratitude.
Thank you very much. That makes me feel so privileged to hear that from you. Thank you.
Tony, I can't thank you enough, Tony. You've been a great inspiration to me. And even at my age of 53, believe it or not, you've taught me, I've learned quite a few things from you. And one of them was always cross your I's and dot your T's. You helped me become more of a detailed individual. And I look up to you, a great respect for you. And I want to thank you for your service and also for our friendship.
Okay, it's been a pleasure. As you said, it's been a personal
Wait,
friendship.
I want to say something now too.
Okay, Ari.
Yeah. Tony, like getting to meet you and work with you has been perhaps the best aspect of being on the zoning board. Just a really, really wonderful guy. And I've really enjoyed getting to know you. So thank you very much for everything.
Thank you, Ari, for for being on the board and committing your time to it. We really enjoy having you. Thank you.
Tony, I have to say also that without you being here and all your understanding of everything, I wouldn't have been able to make it as far as I have on the board. And it's been a pleasure to know you, and I'm so sorry that you're leaving.
Thank you very much, Mary. It's been a
Yeah.
pleasure knowing you also.
Me too.
Absolutely.
And I'm the new kid on the block, so
Well, you
I didn't have the many years, just a few
Career.
months, but
You got a good career ahead of you, Donna. You're doing great.
thanks.
Yep. Thank
I'm
you.
the newest kid on the block, and you know, in our work on the zoning task force, Tony definitely let me see just how broken our zoning code is and why we need to reform it. So
And it's in great hands with you, Anthony, guiding the task force. So I will be reading the Freeman still and following the course of the task force that we put together and the consultant, but it's good to have you on the board. Thank you. So, thank you to everybody.
You're welcome.
Okay, Dan, you let me know when you want me to start having people exit our room here.
Now would be a good time.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask the board.
and adjourn
And
the meeting.
actually, we can
I wanna just
adjourn the meeting.
Yeah,
And then,
motion to adjourn, please.
I move to adjourn.
Is that Mary?
Yes.
Thank you and congratulations, Tony.
Thank you. Oh, how you doing? Mary adjourned, second.
I
Donna,
second.
favor, aye. Opposed,
Aye.
aye. Oh, the adjourned at 6:29 PM.
okay, and then the board just stay on because there are some matters that we have to
Yeah, so-
discuss confidentially with council.
Yeah, so some people haven't hung up yet, so I have to help them exit.
That's
the
fine.
room, Okay. Bear with me.
I'll see you around 10 then, Eric, okay?
Okay, hold on, Tony. Hold on.
I'm up.
Okay, so we have Steve Knox, Dan Gordon, Steve, Brian Cafferty, Ari, Anthony Tampone, Mary, Donna Morton, Art, and myself. Yep, so we are now officially, let me just stop the recording, Dan, Dan, or you,
Yeah, stop the recording. Steve, you are welcome. I mean, the board can certainly invite you to stay. I'm not sure that you need to if you have other stuff to do.